restores my family, and he helps me to do the simple most. That's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe. Safe in his arms. Because the Lord is my shepherd, I have everything I need. Rest in the meadow's grass, and he leads me beside the quiet stream. He restores my failing health, and he helps me to do the simple most. That's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe. That's why I'm safe. Safe in his arms. With the storm, when the storm comes, and the billows, they begin to roll, and I'm glad he shall find me. So glad, I'm glad he shall find me. When the storm that loves the rain, I can't find no place to rest. He shall find me. I'm so glad, I'm glad he shall find me. I'm so glad he
Listen, everybody, this is the day that the Lord has made. We will rejoice and be glad in it. We're dealing with grief tonight, but you all give me a few moments. I have some shocking news for us in Oakland, California, and it has got me to the level that I am very upset. And I'm going to try to contain myself tonight, but I don't like people doing my friends any kind of way. So I have a close friend of mine who is on the line with me tonight. She's on the call with me tonight. Listen, first of all, I need you to like and share. You all need to hear the entire show tonight, but you guys really need to hear what is going on. What is going on? Y'all really need to hear what is going on tonight. So Brenda, this is my guest, Brenda Grisham, tonight. We're just doing 10 minutes. This ain't nothing with grief. This is the indefinite suspension of my friend and brother, who's a Christian, who grew up in a Baptist church, who grew up in church, who's from West Oakland, a product of West Oakland, who loves his city. Chief of Police LaRon Armstrong has been, in my estimation, wrongfully terminated. But y'all know people gives it another name. It's an indefinite. What is? What are we calling it? Indefinite what?
What is it? What do they call it? Indefinite suspension.
An indefinite suspension. All right. So listen, you all. This is what happened. Come on, Brenda, and tell us.
Nothing. It had nothing to do with him. There were some investigations, and he have people that are, just not really on his team, which he thought were on his team. And so the incident happened 2 years ago, but it just surfaced with the new regime, and he has been put on indefinite suspension. And so we're going to rally around him. The community has been doing interviews and things of that nature. And so his executive staff wants to do a press conference on Tuesday at the courthouse, 1225 Fallon Street. And we're trying to get any and everybody that he has touched, or you might not know him personally, but you've seen the work that he has done here in city of Oakland. We want you to come out. It's at noon. Because for so many years we haven't said anything, and we keep letting new regimes come in and put us to the back of the line when we're almost finished our course. And we just can't keep doing that. We have to stand up for our people, Oaklanders. He's just not for us. He deals with all nationalities, and he has built a rapport with the community, and we just can't keep doing this. So we're asking for support to come out and support him, because he really needs support. And that's pretty much it.
So listen, you all. This Tuesday, and my boss have already let me take my break time so I can go raise hell and be there to support. I ain't going peacefully. They're going to carry me out, because this is Brenda. This is the same exact thing that they've done to Howard Jordan.
Exactly.
They did the same exact thing to Hojo, and we are not going to stand for it. Listen, at some point, y'all, you got to fight about something, and y'all know I love my city of Oakland, California. Pastor Wheelock has already said he will be there. Pastor Ambrose Carroll, my best friend, will be there. I'm going to get Pastor Ivy to be there. I'm going to get Pastor Pearl to be there. My boys is going to come through on Tuesday. We will be meeting Tuesday at Oakland Police Department. Will host a press conference in support of Chief LaRon Armstrong on Tuesday at 12 noon, 1225 Fallon Street in Oakland. That's not the Oakland Police Department. That's the courthouse.
Yes.
Right across from the lake. That's where we're going to be. We need you preachers. We don't need y'all to come in street clothes. It's going to be enough cameras out there. It's going to be enough publicity out there. We need y'all to put on a shirt and tie, put on a suit. You are a preacher. Let's look like a preacher on Tuesday, all right? We want to be in support of born and raised, baptized at Pleasant Grove Baptist Church, a member of Pleasant Grove Baptist Church. Listen, let's stand in solidarity for my friend and brother and all of our friends who is a product, just like Howard Jordan, a product of Oakland, California. And when they get new staff in, that's what they do to us. Post it and make it available to share. All right, Pastor Robbie Robinson, listen, you all. You need to watch my page, and see for the information. We'll have the information before this is up, but I wanted to bring Brenda, who's on the advisory board, and she put me on the advisory board with her to support our brother, an African-American, born and raised in Oakland, California, for the chief of police, and that is Chief of Police LaRon Armstrong. He's only been in office for a year and a half, and they've already put him on an indefinite suspension, indefinite leave. That's the same exact thing that they did to Howard Jordan, and Howard Jordan has not come back yet. Listen, Oakland Police Department was already screwed up before LeRon came in office, and it'll be screwed up after he left. They're going to have to quit doing black like they do blacks. They're going to have to stop it. Enough is enough. It's time for black people and Latino, black and brown. That's what Oakland is, black and brown. It's time for us to stand up for what's right and support what's right. They don't have he wasn't even the chief of police about something that happened 2 years ago. He's only been the chief of police for a year. Come on, Brenda, if you got something else to say.
Yeah, that's about right. It was 2000. This incident was 2021, and it's 2023, and they, trying to slip it in to get him out of office, and we just can't let it happen.
All right, y'all. So we wanted to make sure we took the first 10 minutes to inform the Real Talk audience, to inform our churches, interview pastors that's on here. Please meet us at 1225 Fallon Street, 12 no. Now, preachers, please be on time. Please be on time.
Yeah,
please be on time. This is validly important for us to please be on time. Follow my page. I've already put up a link about watching tonight, 1225 Fallon. We don't just need preachers. We need preachers, but we also need citizens of Oakland to be there too. Concerned citizens of Oakland. We're tired of you all in office just doing blacks and Latinos any kind of way, which we are the majority in the city of Oakland. Let's stand up for what's right. They have no grounds to terminate him. They have no grounds to put him on an indefinite suspension. For what? My point exactly. We don't know. All right. So, Brenda, tell us one more time where we're going to be on Saturday. On Tuesday.
First of all, yes, Tuesday, 1225 Fallon, and you don't have to worry about parking. You'll be able to double park. It's going to be blocked off. So, apparently Orloff is going to be in the courtroom on that day talking about the case. So that's why we moved it to the courthouse.
Okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate you all for following us. Brenda, thank you for coming on for this whistleblower. We stand in solidarity with LeRon Armstrong, born and raised in Oakland. And I just think if you're from Oakland, you should be the chief of police for Oakland. I think if you're the mayor, you should be a mayor from Oakland, just not no transplant coming from anywhere, to understand our culture, to understand us.
Yeah.
We need somebody in office that understands Oakland and the culture of Oakland. All right. Thank you, Brenda. I appreciate you so much. And I'll check with you after we get off Real Talk. Appreciate you so much.
Bye.
Thank you. All right. Okay. My Kat, Alex, let's bring Kat on now. Hey, sis.
Hey.
We had to do this. This was important. And we talk about real life stuff. This is called Real Talk, and that's fake talk. What they trying to do with our boy who's born and raised in West Oakland to become the chief of police. And a lot of people don't know it. It's just they just sweeping it up. They're trying to sweep it under the carpet. But we're gonna blow the whistle on this. This is nonsense. This.
Absolutely. Strength in numbers. And like you said, they try to railroad us out of offices, especially when we're in places of influence, and we have to speak up and speak out.
We got to speak up and speak out. All right. So you all, Kat and I are co-hosting today. Kat, why don't you bring them up? This is our last week. I told your husband, this is our last week together. This is our last... Ambrose, this is our last week together. You can have your wife back, man. Thank you for loaning her to me for 3 weeks, for an hour and a half. I appreciate you, your brother. I know it was only me. You only felt secure with me. But sis, why don't you bring us up to par where we are and how we're going in tonight with our special guest tonight?
Okay. Well, we started off our segment with talking about the stages of grief, and we identified denial. This can't be happening. Anger. Why is this happening? We unpacked bargaining, that stage where you just feel like, what could you have done differently? What can you change about the situation, if anything? We talked about depression, and we talked about acceptance. So these are the stages of grief. We also talked about some of the signs and symptoms to watch out for in terms of emotional symptoms. We talked about you may feel sadness, depressed mood, shock, denial, disbelief. You may lose pleasure in things that you enjoy. You may have increased anxiety, hopelessness, helplessness, anger, survivor's guilt. Remember, we unpacked that in our first segment.
Correct.
You may feel low confidence, low self-esteem. You'll have a lot of symptoms that mirror anxiety and depression. Then for physical symptoms, we talked about chest pains, loss of energy, mental fog. You can't concentrate well or think well. You may have some issues sleeping or oversleeping. You may overeat or undereat. So these are all signs and symptoms that may present when you are going through your grief journey. And today we wanted to bring on individuals that will talk about their grief journey in relationship to these stages of grief. And hopefully they can share with us what they are doing to cope with their grief.
Yeah. This is great. Only the Lord is the only person who've done this, because when me and Kat talked about this, I presented to her. I'm like, hey, sis, I want to deal with this. You know, my children are grieving. I'm grieving. It's so many people working in the funeral business. It's so many people, loved ones that pass around the holidays. And I just thought starting the year off talking about grief and talking about how to deal with grief and the signs of grief, and you're not crazy. There's no limit to grief. There's no limit to grieving. There's no time span on it. We've brought it to week 3, and we thought we would bring some people on to give their testimonies to see how they work. I believe that our guests tonight are going to bless a whole lot of people. Kat and I know everybody that are on tonight. And so, Alex, you can start. My engineer can start bringing people on. Let's go ahead and start bringing people on. And we'll pick what order. Reverend Patrick. Hey, Kenyatta. Hey, Lex. Hey, Nola. Calvina is having problems. Y'all can wave and say hi to everybody. Unmute your mics. Y'all unmute your mics. Kenyatta, unmute your mic. Lee, y'all unmute your mic.
Hello.
Okay. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Nola.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Hey, Pastor Lavell Jones. All right, cool. All right, so let me go with Reverend Lee Patrick first. I have it's not strange. We're waiting on Calvina to come on. She's having technical difficulties. I have been there with Reverend Lee Patrick when his wife died. I beat Pastor Ivy to the hospital because I was closer to him. And then 2 months later, his mother died. Lex is the minister of music at the Church of Restoration and the director of music at the Victory Church. He lost his mother and father within 13 months. I went to his father's service, but I also took his mother to her final resting place. We had her. They entrusted Fuller's Funeral Home at that time. And then also Nola is my secretary, who I was there when her daughter took her last breath, and also preached her funeral, and also was at my funeral home, and I took care of her. And also Pastor Lavell Jones, when his father took his last breath, I met him at the convalescent hospital. When his son died, life was taken violently, I was with him. And also when his mother passed 2 years ago in December, I was at the house, was able to get his mother, take his mother, and they entrusted us to take care of his mother. So Kenyatta is the only one that I haven't personally walked through this, but I was there for my friends and my family while all of them still are grieving at this time, and it's been a couple of years that they're still grieving. So, Reverend Patrick, let's start with you first, and then I'll go to Lex and Pastor Lavell Jones. Not only his father passed on. I think it was a Tuesday night because I just came off from Bible class and turned around and went right back to meet him. Me and Pastor Victor Bryce was there to meet with his family. 3 days later, his sister passed. So that was the first double funeral that I'd ever been to in my life. His father, and his sister both had homegoing celebrations together at Star Bethel Baptist Church. So I've been with some of my friends with some of their most vulnerable and most weakest moments of their lives. And I just thank God that God helped me up to walk them through that part. Reverend Patrick, how are you doing mentally, physically? 2 months. You lost your wife, Dawn, who was my friend, my Warriors buddy. We used to go to Warriors games together, sit together, and stuff like that. She was a diehard Warrior fan. How are you coping right now? That's just for me. And then come on, Katresa, because I'm not taking over. We're co-hosting together. I don't know what you may want to say to him, but I'm definitely going to need you to introduce Kenyatta.
So thank you, Pastor Peters and Kat and distinguished panel. It's a day-by-day journey, Uncle Marty. It is. It's last November made 5 years. This is going on year 6. We're blessed to have celebrated a birthday last Wednesday, so that's giving me some comfort. But it's day by day. You know, my life is different. I loved Dawn since I was 9 years old, and I told my pastor I was going to marry her when I was 9, and God let it happen. It was really weird because I knew she wasn't coming home, and I tell the story. I preached the sermon I think that Sunday about trusting God in difficult times, and the next day my wife had an ischemic stroke, and she'd had a stroke earlier in the year, so I knew everything would be the same. She'd come home. I'm sitting in the hospital with her. I'm asking God, my turn to preach next at church. Do I preach a eulogy or a funeral or a regular sermon? And God told me to prepare a eulogy. And I remember calling Pastor Ivy and telling him that she's not coming home. Everybody's praying for her. I'm not bringing her home. I knew it on Wednesday. And things kept taking a turn for the worse. And I don't know if you remember, Uncle Marty, I asked you and Pastor Ivy to meet me at the church on that Monday. That would be the 13th. I was going to turn off the plug. I said, I trust God. If she breathe on her own, she make it through, we're going to take her to another facility. But God took her on the 12th. And it was rough for me because at the time, Mom was going through stage 4 cancer. Her surgery was scheduled for that coming Saturday. And I just wanted Mom to stay calm. I was on autopilot. I tell everybody that. I was basking in God's peace, but I was on autopilot. I knew I had to take care of business. At the same time, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know this was different. This not me preaching for this was Don. This was my rock. And God got me through it. Drifted autopilot for another month and a half, and then Mom left. Right on the couch behind me, to my left. Mom passed. And I just remember feeling numb. I remember feeling this sense that this is, I guess it was my time to lose, is what I told myself. And I even shared at the service, what do you do when it feels like you've been right with God, but God's not been right with you? I remember sharing that. And I remember putting Job and Joseph and Jesus on the stand, and that to testify against God. God, we was doing what we were supposed to do, and this happened. And those are some of the things I felt and I feel. And actually, Miss Cat, I experience it every day. I relive that week of November every single day. At some point in time, one moment it comes, and I'll sit there and deal with it. Then I kind of pray back off at the same time. Again, it's there. So that's kind of where I am now, Unc. I'm okay, but I'm not okay, if that makes sense. Everybody, I have my moments where you'll see me. I'm smiling. I'm flowing. At the same time, family man, the one I was supposed to grow old with, my lowest lane, she gone.
Nephew,
Yes.
you don't have, what I've learned from my sister in these past 3 weeks, you don't have to be okay for nobody else.
Right.
Nobody grieves the same exact way.
Right.
You know, Marissa is right next to me. She's right here, and I hear her snipping. And if y'all see me keep looking, I'm looking at my baby, because my children are still grieving, and this is going to be therapy. And this is going to, she's standing here cooking, but she's also grieving at the same time. It's a pain that will never go away. Pastor Anthony Perkins lost his brother. Him and his mom have gone through therapy. I could have had him on tonight, but he's battling walking pneumonia. And he's like, man, we've gone through counseling. I mean, it didn't work to me, man. I still miss my brother. It's something that you're never, ever going to get rid of in your life. It's something that's going to always hurt. Kat, I need the doctor. Come on, talk to me. Come on, talk to Reverend Patrick in here. I'm not a doctor.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a doctor either, but I like the ring of that, Dr. Kat. So, you know, if you're going to call me doctor.
I'm going to keep calling you doc.
What I will say is I understand how you feel when you said you've been doing everything right by God, but you don't feel like God has been right by you. Ooh, that struck a chord in me, because that's how I felt about my mom, who was a staunch church-going woman, kind-hearted, an angel on earth, would give her shirt off her back, always serving the Lord. You know, you got people out here doing all kind of crimes and things. Why would you take her? So for a long time, you know, I was in the angry phase, but I knew I was angry with God.
Yeah.
I was angry because here we are doing good work out in the community, trying to be law-abiding citizens, upholding our moral and Christian standard. Why us? And so I went through a battle with God for many, many years before I came to the realization that why not me, you know? And that's a journey that you have to go on with yourself and your spiritual creator to get to that point. But it took me a while. I was in the denial phase for a long time, evidenced by the fact that I couldn't even go to her gravesite. When they laid her down, it was 8 years later that I went back. So my question to you, among the stages of grief, we talked about denial, anger, bargaining, depression. You can vacillate between all. Where do you feel you are?
I know for sure. I don't really remember experiencing denial. Like I said, I knew before this was gonna happen, and I was angry for a while. I definitely was barking at everybody. I was barking at everybody for a minute, and the bargaining stage, I feel sometimes, and I definitely know depression comes. Definitely, there's sometimes I could be, again, doing everything as normal, singing, teaching, leading prayer, whatever. But I'm down. I just don't. I don't feel like I know I felt before November 5th, 2017. That feeling, I haven't felt that way since.
Now, let me ask you this. What is your why? What keeps you going?
Without being pseudo spiritual, I mean, I grew up around pastors and preachers a lot, and the first phase of the pastors that I grew up around, Uncle Marty, you can't cry. You can't cry in service, this, that, and the other. That's where I grew up. That's what I saw, and that was there for a good while till I said, "No, bump that. I'm crying. I'm gonna get ugly and cry. I'm gonna drool, this, that, and the other." Now, it's just for him, and I say that for real. I say that to my heart. It's as unto the Lord, because right now I'm still searching for my purpose. I tell everybody, this is Lee 3.0. This is the third version of me. There was a single me, there was a married me, now there's me now. I'm still trying to answer the question: what do you do where the scripture says the two become one flesh and the one dies? Am I one? I don't. I'm still trying to answer that question. Theologically and real, what am I now? You know, and that's kind of that's my mindset. That's where I am.
Yeah.
Good place to be in, and continue to be patient and give yourself radical grace in your journey. I think one of the misconceptions is people feel like they should have an answer to know why, and you really don't have to. And so be patient with yourself with that.
Yeah. Listen, you all, thank you, Reverend Patrick. Don't go nowhere. We don't go nowhere because the doctor gonna help us, and I'm gonna keep calling that doctor. I'm speaking that. I'm putting that in the atmosphere because my sister about to be Dr. Cat. Yeah, Dr. Cat cares. Listen, you all, would you all please like and share? Like and share. I see the folk coming in. It's some folk out here on tonight, y'all. Please like and share. Please like and share. That's our commercial right here. Like and share. You get ready to hear testimonies. They're not finished talking. We just get ready to go to someone next. Kenyatta, hold on. Let me go to Pastor Lavell Jones, dealing with the death of his son being murdered, the death of his father, the death of his sister, and the death of his mother. And I've been right there with him through all of them. He's one of my best friends in the whole wide world. Come on, Pastor Lavell Jones, and let's come on and share your journey. Kat, hold on, Lavell. Kat, is there anything you want to ask him first before he starts sharing, or is there any way you want him to ease into it?
No, I think he should share as he feels led.
Okay. Go ahead, Pastor Lavell Jones.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Last week, when you were talking, there are just times I'm just not all right, and I play like I'm all right all the time, and I bury myself. And I work a full-time job, and I have two churches, and I literally bury myself in work and church, trying to escape the pain in my life. And I live in Stockton and I work at UC Berkeley, but I got to pass rolling hills every day where my son is buried. And I haven't said this. And Marty, I called you today just to check on you. That's what I was calling you for.
And I'm in a funeral while you calling me.
See how you're doing. I didn't want anything. I just want to see how you were doing. And you have, through every step of the way, man, you've been a friend. Matter of fact, when the night my son was killed, you was the first person I called. When mama died, you were the first person that was called. When daddy and sister died, you were the first person called. So I am still in grief counseling. And Lee, nobody can tell you how to grieve or when to stop grieving. I'm a teacher for Lady Cobb's in Richmond, Bishop Cobb's wife, parents that have lost their children. And once every other month, I'm in a setting with all of those that have lost children. And I got kind of hurt one time because one person asked me, how does it feel as a pastor to lose your child? And I said to her, sweetie, I don't mean no harm, but Pastor Jones didn't lose his child. Lavell lost his son.
Come on.
Lavell lost his son. Pastor didn't lose no child. His daddy lost a son. And the hurting part of losing my child was he was my organist. He was my organist. And before everyone came on, that was his mother talking to Pastor Marty. Before all of us came on, and for him to die on a New Year's Eve, night at 7 o'clock, and I was kind of angry with God, Lee, because he was an organist. He was in church, on his way to church, and yet you got all these other kids out there going crazy, doing everything in the city of Oakland and stuff. And God, why would you take my child? Of all children, you would take my child and then come right around and then you take my daddy and my sister the same weekend. You take them 2 days apart. And then the thing that was the closest to me, you came right back and took my mama.
Yep.
And y'all, it hurt me. And y'all, I sit in my garbage truck and I cry. I still cry. And I'm I feel like grief counseling didn't help me, but I'm there. I'm there, and let me tell y'all something. It hurts. It hurts. I press my way. Day after day. I work 6 days a week, and then I preach twice, 3 times on Sunday. And my bright spot is my family and my 2 grandchildren, Maverick and Nevaeh. And when Lady Keisha brings them to me when she knows I'm feeling down, it brightens my day just to see them, to play basketball with my grandson and things like that. And Pastor Marty and I'm not old, we're the same age. And Lex, I've known you for a long time, and Lady Cat, me, Marty, and Ambrose have been friends ever, and it just, I'm trying not to cry now. So Lee, I totally understand what you're saying, and because I still got to go to the pulpit tomorrow and encourage everybody else when sometimes there's nobody there to encourage me.
Come on, talk. Come on.
Yeah. And see, and the strange thing is, Lavell, I mean, y'all, Lee, Lavell, I mean, y'all know how tight me and Nicole were.
Yep.
I mean, 30 years of friendship. We've been raising 4 children for 30 years. We could have wrote a book on co-parenting and how to get along. It was never about us. It was always the best interest of our children.
Yep.
Always the best interest of our children. I'll say that until it's my time to leave this earth. We were the best. We could have wrote a book on it. And so, man, for some people, staying out of church is what worked for them. But for me, I could not stay out of church. I need to be in church so I can hear a word. And I need to be around like-minded people that I know that care for me, that I know that are praying for me and stuff like that. And many days, as many people as I've lost, I lost 11 members in 1 year who were faithful members of the Victory Church. That's 6 years ago, and going through a divorce, and losing my grandfather, and losing 5 close friends across the country. Mentor Gordon Humphrey, T-Bout in New Jersey, my friend Felicia Daniels, Dennis Turner, who passed right down the street at Mount Eaton Hospital from me, Doc. So I know exactly how pain feels. But when it came to Nicole's death, it was harder than my aunties, my grandfather, my little sisters. It was the hardest death I've ever had to deal with. And it got me to the point, I don't feel like talking to nobody. I don't feel like going out. I don't want to go to the movies. I don't want to go eat. Sometimes I don't know what to eat. Sometimes I undereat. Sometimes I don't eat at all. Sometimes they have to remind me, Marty, you haven't eaten at work today. Oh, okay, I need to eat today. That's just what grief has done to me when it came to Nicole's death. So as her being my children's mother and us dating for several years, you all losing your mothers. I don't know what my kids feel like because my mother is still alive. My grandmother is still alive. I don't know what they feel. So sometimes I want to text them. Sometimes I want to call them. Sometimes I don't know. And I've had to tell Yanni last week, Yanni, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I don't know. And like, she told me, Dad, you could call me. Sometimes you have to text me. Okay, but sometimes I call, you don't answer. So it's just a discombobulated situation. My feelings are everywhere. And I don't, y'all, I'm praying for y'all. I cry a lot. I really cry a lot. So,
hey, Marty,
but Cat has helped me in these last 3 weeks. Go ahead, Lavell.
Yeah, I try and find something to laugh. My brothers, Mo and Shay called me yesterday and made me laugh. And I'm laughing right now because I'm looking at Miss Cat, and all I can think about, Marty, you about to fall out when I say this because I'm thinking of Ambrose. Look, Marty, you know where I'm going. They got him. Miss
Lavell, you are not right, dude. I know you grieving, but Ambrose is watching. He's over here leaving comments. Now,
Don't be talking about my husband now.
when he cuss you, I'm not going to even pray for him. You deserve that one.
Y'all not gonna talk about my husband.
I'm not. I didn't say nothing about my best friend in the whole wide world. I didn't see. Ambrose said you wrong, Lavell. He just left a comment.
I have a question for Lavell.
Go ahead.
Okay, hold on, Miss Cat, just real quick. And then Marty, I got to go to Sacramento this week for Vincent.
Okay, so they said it. Okay.
Yeah, well, they haven't said it yet, but with his family, I got to go meet with his family.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. Go ahead, Miss Cat.
I wanted to know more about why you feel the grief counseling isn't working or didn't work.
I feel a lot like Lee. I start playing the why me? My mom, my dad, my mom, my sister. I understand it, but I still can't understand why God would take my child. Why wouldn't you take? I thought, God, why wouldn't you take me? Why would you take my 17-year-old child? And his mom Brenda is doing a great job with the foundation and stuff. But it's hard for me to go to Rolling Hills and look at a placard on the ground. And it's a guilt trip because I feel like that as a father I could have did more. You have 100,000 things playing through your mind. Lex knew my son. It. Oh my God! Sometimes it just, I'm like, God, why would you do me like that? I mean, has anybody else felt like that? God, why would you do me like that?
Yeah, most definitely.
And so are you in the process weekly or monthly where you're still checking in with a therapist, even though you feel like it's not quite working?
No, I need to go back and continue. I really do. I said, well, let me say it like this. At times I feel like it's not working. It is, but to me, it's not. You understand? Because in my own mind of what I'm dealing with, and I've been through 3-4 cycles of it, and I'm still going through it, and sometimes I just sit and I listen. Sometimes I don't want to talk. Sometimes, everybody think you have the answers because you're the pastor. But I don't want to be the pastor. That's just like I want to take off so bad and go to somebody's church that don't know me and just sit in the back. Because last time I went to somebody's church, Pastor Sean Mapp, and I'm sitting there with my daughter and my granddaughter. He's beckoning for me to come forward, and I'm like, no, I'm fine. And so he had me come forward, had somebody come get me, and I went up forward. And then he had the unmitigated gall and say, the next voice you will hear will be that of Pastor Lavell Jones. No, I don't want to preach. I just want to enjoy worship. No, if I wanted to preach, I'd have been at both. Sometimes I just want to. That's why I want to go when service is almost over and the preacher's about to preach, and I just want to be preached to, because I don't get a chance to be preached to or ministered to.
That's right.
I just want to go somewhere where somebody don't know me and just and hear a word of solitude for me.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I want to do is empower you and other people who are pastors or in the helping profession. Set healthy boundaries. Use your voice to say no and give yourself permission to say no when you feel you need to. You know what I mean? I don't know if you could have said no to that pastor when he said the next voice will be yours, but we have to exercise saying no when we need to say no if it's going to allow us self-care. I always teach you can't pour from an empty cup. People should get from the overflow. What's in the cup is for you. And my question to all of you as you reflect, what's in your cup?
Well, just like the night he died, the next day I got up and preached.
Come on.
Because I felt like that's what was going to get me through. That was going to get me through. I don't feel that way no more. Then.
And so my next question is, what are you doing for self-care, and do we need to add more to your self-care plan?
Self-care is now gym. I'm back fishing again. and things like that, and just taking time for me. But like today, I worked today. I had a preacher scheduled to preach tomorrow. He can't make it, so guess who got to preach? So I'm in the office because I got to preach in the morning. I can't make an excuse why I can't get up and preach in the morning. So because other preacher can't make it tomorrow, and I got to preach at both churches now, and I'm okay with that. But and then it's but I'm in the gym now. I'm fishing now, and I'm watching comedy. Dave Hollister. Dave Hollister has become a good friend of mine, and he's in Miami today. He'll be back late tonight, and he called me today. He called me today and said, "Jones, what you doing?" And then All for One, the group All for One, good friends of mine. They're gonna be in Fresno in a couple weeks, and they invited me to come just stay the weekend and just hang with them and stuff. And so I'm just gonna go do that. Just I don't want to preach or nothing. I just want to go and listen to some good music, laugh, go to a comedy show or something, just do something else, or just be me. I want to be Lavell. I don't want to be pastor. I just want to be Lavell.
Come on, man. Make some peanut butter cookies, man.
Marty, Martin Ray Peters.
All right, let's move on.
Do we need to go there tonight?
No, let's move on. Because Marissa over here.
I know what's going to happen.
Let's
Marty ain't telling y'all, Lex, he stole my peanut butter cookies at the convention.
Lavell, let's move on. I pressed toward the mark for the prize of the high calling in Christ.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So let me go to Nola. Nola, it's been said that parents are not supposed to bury their children. Children are supposed to bury their parents. I've heard that today at a funeral. But Nola had to watch her daughter basically just go down right before her. Nola was my dad's secretary and admin for 12 years. And for the last 15 years, she's been my admin and my secretary. This is Nola Hardy of the Victory Church. Nola, come on and tell us how you are. I know you're still grieving, and I know you still miss your daughter. Tell us how you are getting through your process.
Good evening, everybody. Listening to people talk, Pastor, I feel funny because God has given me a peace that surpasses understanding. I haven't questioned him why he took my daughter. I haven't been angry with him for my daughter going. I have a peace because my daughter physically, spiritually, and her body suffered so. I had to watch her with gaping holes in her body. And she believed in God. She was God's child.
True.
And the months before she died, I watched God work through her. The last things that she did, about a month before she died, she had asked me the address of our church when we were on Stone Street. One of my nieces wanted to come there. I wonder why she wants to come. Well, the particular Sunday, we were starting at 12 o'clock instead of 11. But I didn't call my daughter and tell her because I don't know nothing about her coming. Marcus happened to get to church at 11 o'clock, and there was my daughter getting off paratransit. I believe she asked God, let me visit church with my mother one more time.
I was there.
2 weeks after that, she had been planning a surprise party for her father's birthday. She had people in Lavell, Fairfield, Houston, Texas doing things, all in her body deteriorating. She's sitting in the bed wrapping acknowledgments around candy bars, wrapping water jars. They got her dad to the park. My grandson came and got her from Hayward, took her to Vallejo. When her dad turned around, there he is wheeling her to the party. I believe she asked God to let her do those two things. 2 weeks later, she was gone.
Yeah.
I've never questioned him because I believe that he makes no mistakes. Sometimes I wonder because I hear people talk about how they cry and all that. I can be watching TV and see something, I'll get weepy, but it goes. I have not had an all out breakdown, boo-hoo, because I believe God did what he was supposed to do for her. I don't ask him, can I see her 5 minutes? I hear people say, if I could just see her for 5 minutes, and I hope nobody gets upset by this. But I don't ask him that because I don't know what form she would come back in. I don't know if she would come back whole or if she would come back the way she left. And after 5 minutes, I'd have to let her go and she'd have to let me go. My job, I believe, is to get to her so that we will have everlasting 5 minutes. This is the peace that God, whether I'm not saying I don't miss her, I miss her tremendously. But he's just given me a peace in my soul that allows me to keep going. And I wonder, people just cry, why I'm not just sitting around boo-hooing, and he's just covering me, is all I can say, is that he's covering me. That's all I can say, is that he's covering me. We always preach, God does not make a mistake. He knows what he's doing. Everything is written in the book of life. August 28, 2019, my daughter was supposed to go home and meet the Lord. Yeah. What I got to ask him, why you take her for? Yeah. He already knew this was what was going to happen. Yeah. I didn't want her to go. You were there before I got there, Pastor. You know, you were there. With you being there with her, you rolling her out, taking her on the elevator to go to Fuller. I couldn't have asked for anything more than that. God was helping me right then through you. If I had to let her go, you took her. I don't know anybody else I would have trusted but you. So the only thing I can say in my grieving is God is holding my hand and walking with me. He's letting me know he has my child. She had a wonderful heart. That church was, the funeral home was full inside and out. Only 2 rows belonged to my family. Everybody else was people that I had adopted, my daughter had adopted, and their children. He's just given me peace to accept that his will has been done. And I don't know anything else other than to say, thank you, Lord. Because if he wasn't keeping me, I would probably be crazy. Me and my daughter talk 3-4 times every day. On a cruise, out of town. She told, what are you calling me for? Don't you have no friends? Aren't you supposed to be off having a good time? You my friend. This is what we did. When she was laying in that casket at Fuller's, I went in there and I stood over her. I didn't cry. I talked to her like she was there. I said, now you know, I don't want to kiss nobody dead. Now I got to bend down here and kiss you. That's where I would have told her she was living. And I told you better not kiss me back. Maybe that sounds crazy to other people, but that helped me get through it. And I just believe God has his arms around me and he's walking me through, taking me through, keeping and sustaining me. And I'm just hoping that in my living, I get to live and do well enough that my 5 minutes that I want to see my daughter will be an eternal 5 minutes.
Yeah. And again, everybody's testimony, everybody's grief process is different than everybody's grief process.
Yeah.
I was taught, and this is no offense to Nola because she know what I teach. She's been with me for all the time I've been pastor in Victory Church. I don't teach that you can't question God. I don't teach that. I don't teach that at all. I do not teach that you can't question God. If God is our Father, and God is all seeing, all knowing, all powerful, then God is the only person that has all of the answers to give us. So therefore, and he's a teacher. Rabbi is one of his names. Teacher, meaning that he's a teacher. If God is testing us, then God has to teach us first before he tests us. God never gives us a test without teaching us first.
That's right.
Now, as a pastor, I have to teach that, and I stand on those principles. God is our teacher, and the teacher, what in school, after a teacher have taught us, what do? They turn around and test us on what we've been taught.
Pastor, can I say this? Can I
Go
say
ahead.
this, Pastor?
Go ahead.
I'm not saying that I didn't question God because we can't ask him. I know that he's our father. We can ask him anything.
Right.
I didn't say that for that. I'm
No,
saying it
no.
because
I was just telling people that they can question God.
oh yeah,
You
but
chose not to.
I just didn't ask him why her, because he said it was her turn.
Right.
He said it was her turn.
Yeah.
That's just what I believe.
Correct.
That's just what I believe. Now I have asked him many questions. That just wasn't one of them. That just wasn't one of them.
No, I totally get that. But I just wanted to, because that's a misconception in church.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't question God. Oh, no.
I don't see that.
That's what we've been taught. I don't believe that you cannot question God. I don't believe it. And will I ever teach that you can't question God? Paul asked him, Paul went to the first, second, and third heaven and asked God, hey, what's going on with this thorn in the flesh, God? And the Lord gave him an answer. My grace is sufficient for you. It does not say that Paul did not ask God or question God. It just said that Paul went to the first, second, and third heaven in 1 Corinthians 12, and he talked to God, and God gave him an answer. No. All right. So, go ahead, Kat.
Oh, in terms of Miss Nola, I've just been listening, and it appears that you are in the acceptance phase of the stages of grief. It sounds like you understand mentally, emotionally, and spiritually why it happened, and you've accepted it. And so you have just given an illustration to a degree by way of your testimony of what acceptance can look like for some. For me, when I came to the point of accepting my mother's transition, it was mostly spiritual. It started spiritual because I was angry with God, because I'm like, okay, you could have healed her, or this could have been different, because I believe that God was in control, is in control. And so when I came to accept it, I had to pretty much surrender to a power that is higher than me, that I respect. And I had to understand that the culprit to my anxiety and my anger has been control. Wanting to control the outcome of life that I have no control over. But again, that was my individual journey to come to that place in my life to understand it mentally, emotionally, and spiritually in that way. So thank you for sharing.
All right. All right. Hey, I'm saving Kenyatta and Calvina because they both have organizations, and we're gonna deal with them a little longer. So let me go to Minister Alexis Carr. Come on, Lex, unmute your phone and talk to us.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thank you, bro, Pastor Peters, for allowing me to be a part of this. For me, losing my parents was a total game changer. Like, for me, mentally, I have not come back from that, and I probably never will come back from that. And Marty, probably something that you didn't know is my dad and my best friend died the same week. Justin Winfrey died the same week. I had my relationships with each parent was different. Without going into a whole lot of detail, my mom and I were just at a point of building a relationship when she got sick. And she passed September 1st, 2018. And while in the wrestle with that, later, now my dad's gone. My relationship with my dad was my dad, but my dad was also my friend. You know what I'm saying? 4 a.m. phone calls, and we would do stuff together and we were working in ministry together, at the church where he pastored, True Vine Church of God in Christ. And it was, I have been on a roller coaster for the last 4 years. Sometimes I'm totally fine. I'm good. I'm like Lavell. I like to laugh and preoccupy my mind with stuff to not allow me to get into that rabbit hole of depression that I'm so familiar with, right? And then I could see something on TV, or somebody could say something in conversation, or, I could run into somebody that I haven't seen in about 20, 30 years that is not aware that my dad passed or my mom passed, and they'll ask me, how's your, and then I'm gone. But one thing I can truly say is, in this journey, I have
Sorry, bro.
I have experienced God in a totally different way.
It's all good.
Sometimes I sit and I think, I compare myself to a child learning how to ride a bicycle. And that day comes when that parent removes the training wheels. And Lavell, my training wheels are gone. So it's either fly or fall, right? I miss my parents daily. I miss my best friend daily. And it's nothing, I can agree with Nola, it's nothing but God that has kept me from literally growing crazy. And when you've been thrusted center stage, and you're involved in ministry and you have a job, people are depending on you, looking at you, and they're watching you, and they know what's going on. And some people are supporting, but some people are waiting to see what you're going to do.
Yeah. Absolutely.
There was a bet going on that after I lost my mom, I was going to relapse. That did not happen.
It didn't.
But that just lets you know that people are watching you for whatever intent and purposes they are. And I know what it means to have my mom died on a Saturday. And then I had to show up to church the next day because I had to be at my post. I had to be on the organ. You know what I'm saying? My dad died October 31st, 2019 on a Friday. That weekend was supposed to be his pastoral anniversary and appreciation.
And Mom died your pastoral anniversary.
So he died on Friday. We had the service on Sunday and then buried him the following Saturday. And then 3 days later was my mom's birthday.
Wow.
Never getting an opportunity to take a break. I took a few days off from work, but in terms of showing up for church and being at my post and doing, completing my assignment. I never got that break. So I understand. I might not be a pastor, but I know what it means to have to show up and act as if,
Right.
knowing that you're not okay,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Uh, but I trust God. And I can be real transparent and say, I don't like the process.
Mm.
I don't like the process. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't make sense. It's irritating. It keeps me in constant frustration. I've developed insomnia behind all of this grief, uh, and other things. But I still trust God. I'm not trying to sound all super safe, but that's the only thing I have to hold on to.
Right.
I'm a part of a disconnected family, right? With a parent on one side, a parent on the other side, and now those connectors are gone. I don't have nobody but God.
Yeah.
And when I say He's a keeper, wow,
Is that?
man, that's where I'm at. I just keep pushing. I know what it means to fill my life with stuff, so I ain't got to think about stuff. But even sometimes that doesn't work because I could be in the middle. I could be at Tom and Cheese listening to a comedian, and somebody will say something, and I'll just zone out because all of those memories and all that emotion starts flooding back in, and I have to literally snap myself out of it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah.
For an example, I was guess about months ago. I was watching Dion Cole. He has one of his newest Netflix specials, and I was watching. I love Dion Cole. I think you know, he got a bad mouth, but who knows? Okay, but I was enjoying his special, but then at the end, he made a statement, Marty. He said, I appreciate you all coming out and supporting me and other comics on the stage or whatever. He says, because you never really know how messed up our lives are when we hit the stage. And he was referring to the loss of his mother. You know
Oh
what I'm
wow.
saying? And when he mentioned that, I was fine. I had been laughing, whatever. I was sitting on the couch, and when he said that, I just broke, Lavell. I broke. I was in here by myself, and I boohooed for a good 30 minutes because I know what it means to have to show up, and you have to be okay for the people.
Right.
But on
Right.
the inside, you dying inside.
Yeah. I think as musicians, Lex, I think as musicians and choir members and singers and praise and worship leaders and pastors, people sometimes think because we're always up in front, we're always in front of the cameras, we're always called upon to do stuff, like we don't have a breaking moment. Like I literally had to tell my church, Victory, I am not okay with the loss of my children's mother. I'm not okay. And I think you guys should know I'm not okay. So
Yeah,
if you don't, if I don't show up to Bible class, and if I got a guest preacher, y'all need to know that I'm not okay. I need help. I need therapy because I've never gone through a death like this death.
yeah,
So, and
you're
I
right.
keep saying people that will lose, and I commend so many people who have lost loved ones, and this is the best quote that people who have lost loved ones say, and that is, "It is okay not to be okay."
Absolutely.
I think
You're
that's
Right.
the
absolutely,
most
you're
sound
absolutely right.
advice somebody like you all who have lost great losses to say, okay, I'm not okay. but I'm gonna keep pushing. I told my girls the other day, your mother will want you to keep pushing. Your mother would not want you to die because she's died. Your mother supported you. Your mother became a member of the church that you guys are a member of, so she could be here to push y'all every Sunday and support y'all every Sunday. And so Nicole will want Marissa, Yanni, Monty, and Jasmine, Jojo, Squeak, and Mister, her grandchildren, to all keep pushing forward. Not saying you're not going to miss her. Not saying you're not going to grieve. Not saying you're not going to cry. Not saying you're going to get this over with easily. No, that's not what I mean. I just mean that when your loved one passed, you should not give up, especially if you still have life left in you and God allows you to see another day. You got to keep pushing.
You're absolutely right. And that's what I do. I got to keep pushing. I got to keep pushing for me, so I don't go crazy. I got to keep pushing because I know that is what my parents would want. I know that's what was instilled in me.
Yeah.
And it takes a strength that doesn't come from you.
It's not easy.
No,
it's not easy.
This is not this journey is not for the faint.
No, sir.
And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal like I got it all together, because some days I am an emotional wreck. I take personal days. I'll call out in a minute. Hey, we're gonna try this tomorrow. It's not gonna happen today. You know what I'm saying? And then because of the line of work that I'm in, as a case manager, I have to deal with everybody else's stuff.
Yeah, along and trying to maintain yours.
So I have to put my stuff to the back burner because I have to meet the needs to these homeless people that have mental health issues. That are emotionally distraught, and dealing with all of this day after day after day, and then have to deal with the church stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Lex.
And their issues and their attitudes and their wants and their needs. And it is like, God, when do I have time for me?
Yeah.
And Lex, let me say this to you real quick. Marty will tell you this. Christopher died December 30th. We buried him January the 11th. My church called a meeting to put me out 10 days later on the 21st.
Wow.
I'm trying to tell you, I was an emotional wreck.
Right.
I'm telling you, for folks that say that they love you and you think they're going to be there to support you and stuff, and they hold a meeting to put me out, right. They didn't succeed. But man, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Sometimes I understand what Marty said. Sometimes if the Lord didn't call me to do this, I'd work my garbage job, be a garbage man, and go home at the end of the day and just be Lavell. I'm serious. Some days they don't understand because they want you to be super pastor and they want you to solve all of their problems and stuff. And sometimes, sometimes while you walking around praying for everybody, sometimes they need to stop and pray for you.
Come on.
They really do. And people don't have that. They don't realize that. They want to complain about this. They want to complain about that. I'm not going to lie to you. My Stockton church last Sunday, and I know they probably watching, I almost told them, you know what? Y'all can have this. Y'all can have this. I make enough money as a garbage man in the Bay Area. I promise you. I go to work at 3:30 in the morning and I'm off before noon every day. And sometimes I don't want to deal with that stuff. I don't. That's why and I hear what Kat's saying in terms of coming home, just being able to watch the football game or the basketball game or what have you. One thing about being married and stuff, when I get home, I don't want to be pastor when I get home.
Come on.
I want to be baby, boo, sweetie, honey, big daddy, whatever she called me. That's what I want to be. Shut up. Right. I mean, I don't want to be pastor. My kids and my grandkids, they don't care anything about Pastor Jones. I'm serious. Y'all laughing, but I'm serious as a heart attack.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I want to jump in here to help you all because I've been hearing a lot. One of the things I'm hearing is burnout, especially from the pastors and the ministers. My goodness. We need to beef up the self-care and setting healthy boundaries, because if you're not okay, your parishioners not going to be okay.
Right.
You gotta put your mask on first. Do some more self-care, and you give yourself permission to take some time.
Talk, Doc.
Because I'm hearing burnout, severe burnout. The other thing I want to say is your best looks different every day. So give yourself radical grace and compassion to know that. If you showing up with 20% on Monday and then that's all you have, that's enough. And don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. Your best looks different every day. We are not robots. We are humans. So we have to wake up in the morning and assess the capacity we have to give to ourselves and then give to our families and our jobs. We don't take the time to do those mindfulness practices that we have been taught since we were babies. Slow down, breathe, think. We get up and we moving before our brain gets waking up. Like I have to wake up and thaw out and be like, whoo, and now I gotta sit up. We don't do that. We hit the ground running. But the problem with that, you'll find yourself with panic attacks, chest pain. Those physical symptoms of stress, chronic stress, will start to present. The body is not going to lie to you. If you're having headaches and you just ate and you're hydrated, that's stress.
Come on.
If you're working out and you exercising, but you're still having chest pains and you can't sleep well at night and you're having thoughts that won't stop, that's stress. So you have to know when to ask for help. And sometimes the interventions and the tools that you're using are just not enough. It's okay to continue to add to your toolbox. Don't feel like something's wrong with you, because you need to find a different path to wellness to support your well-being. You know, for me, going to church was enough. That was my therapy until I started having panic attacks. And I was like, okay, I need somebody who's a clinical professional to help me understand the biology of what's happening in my body when I am having a panic attack. So it starts with the mind.
That's right.
Your mind feels like you are under a threat. It will go into survival mode. And it starts shutting down certain functions in your body. Or you will have a rapid heart rate, right? To alert you, to let you know that you're under a threat. But the problem with chronic stress over years, you get false alarms. And because it's triggered by a memory, a trauma trigger, or a stress response.
Kat, say that one more time. Repeat that whole sentence one more time. No. You gotta. You ever heard a preacher say, "Slow down, rewind it, and say it again"? I need you to slow down, rewind it, and say it one more time. I ain't calling you to preach.
Okay, thank God, because we don't need two in the house. We got one is enough. So what I'm saying is, the body knows how to go into survival mode for protection.
Correct.
Okay? But when you have chronic stress, especially chronic stress that has not been dealt with, unpacked, or resolved,
come on,
you continue to have those physical symptoms They're called somatic symptoms of stress. Basically, what stress is presenting in your bodies. So your body keeps score of what's happening mentally and emotionally. Then it impacts you physically. So for people who are grieving, who are stressed, if they're not unpacking that or allowing that release to happen, it is going to internalize in the body, because your body is going to store that stress, which can present in disease. Okay? High blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol.
Come on, preach.
Heart attack,
And that's
stroke.
all across the back, my back here.
So
That's what the doctor said it is stress.
So Ms. Cat, so Dr. Cat, now you went there. Now again, I only told y'all we didn't have enough time. My pastor and my father, two men that raised me, died back to back. 2003, Sam Williams from Trinity. My dad, 2004. I immediately took over the church per se. When I say that, I want to say that very kindly. We had a committee, but I was teaching, preaching every week. I didn't cry. I needed time. Fast forward a couple years, buried grandma, buried auntie, buried uncle. We preached, we eulogized, we was family pastor. Come on a little further. When we lost our fourth, me and my wife, we lost 4 children. When we lost my 4th child, my daughter, London, I started getting kidney stones that year. My best friend was murdered the next year, got kidney stones again. Lost my sister the year after that, got kidney stones, and then 2017, so I lost auntie, cousin, week apart, Don, mom. I've had kidney stones ever since. Didn't have them before. Diabetes, none of that. What you're saying is fact because I haven't had that release. That time hasn't come. It hasn't. I'm serious. We'll cry here or there, but you saying that it's sparking in my head now. That's what the doctor's been telling me. Different things happen in my body is because of stress. 100%.
Oh, absolutely. I'm speaking from experience because when my mom passed about 15 years ago, I didn't cry. I cried when I had a panic attack 3 years later because I didn't release it, and I checked myself into a hospital because I thought I was dying.
Same here.
For the doctor to tell me, you're fine, your vitals are fine, everything's fine. Are you stressed?
Same here.
You should go talk to somebody. I went to talk to a therapist. I tried to get a massage. I went to the massage therapist and she could not massage me. She said, your muscles are too tight. She did not massage me. She was like, I can't massage you. I've never had this before. I started trying hot yoga. I started trying everything because I was like, I am going to kill myself.
Right.
My body is crying out for help.
Yep.
I need to deal with this hurt and this pain that I am suppressing.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Wow.
You got to positively process it. You're right. Totally right.
Yep.
And the one thing about crying is, we talked about this in our first segment, the composition of tears and the chemicals that they are made of when it's an emotional tear is different than the tear you get because you have an allergies and some other kind of tear. That emotional tear has the chemicals in it to give your body the release. It's pretty much ridding your body of those toxic chemicals that come from cortisol. So your body is naturally eliminating toxins that are not supposed to be there. I held back my emotional tears. So then my heart started racing because the release is going to happen one way or the other. Either you're going to allow it to release or you're going to implode.
My Lord. Wow.
Okay, I'm seeing people on here say, "Oh my God, this is helpful. Really needed this," and I believe you have been a blessing to all of us on here, and all of the fellas have, all of the Nola and the rest of the fellas have talked, but we have 2 more young ladies on here. Kenyatta, you still with us? Okay, cool. Kenyatta, I'm gonna have you go last. Okay, you all right with that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I want to bring my friend Calvina on. Calvina and I have been friends probably about 15 years. Her son was murdered. Her son is from Oakland, come from a two-parent home, mother and father both working. He has two young boys now. And she started her foundation, but she has been fighting weekly to make sure that the men, those boys who murdered her son, go to jail for the maximum amount of time that the court system allowed. So she's going to come on. Calvina, come on and introduce yourself to us, and go ahead and tell us your story, how you've been able to go. Now, I know you save, I know you love the Lord and all that other stuff, but come on and tell us how you have been processing the death of your son.
Hi, everybody.
Evening.
I'm gonna share a little bit of my story. Process is not easy, it's very hard. How do you process something you ain't never been through? But the Lord is seeing me through. But my son was a very nice gentleman, helped a lot of people, very kind guy, great father of two. At the time when he passed, he had a 5-year-old son and a 2-year-old son. But the story is, I was speaking with my son. We were here at home, and 2 hours later, he went to visit Sacramento. I have family and everything there. And within 2 hours, I got a call that he was robbed and shot in his head at 23 years old. I can't even explain how I felt. I rushed there, had a lot of family support me and go there. They couldn't save him, put him on life support for a couple of days, gave us a chance to visit with him, to see him for the last time. I lost my son on Thanksgiving Day in 2018. It's been rough. I had great detectives on this case that was able to catch some of the gentlemen. One was never caught, but 3 of them was. I've been battling in court for a long time now, for a few years now. The system is failing me tremendously over and over and over and over again. I continue to fight. I had one that was incarcerated. He only got 6 years. He did 1.5 years. He's out of jail now. The guy that pulled the trigger ended up getting 8 to 10 years. When I thought trial was over, he's only been incarcerated a couple of years. I just got a call from my lawyer that he's appealing. So I have to go back into court now. So when you think you just about done with this process, or trying to get through this process, trying to find your way through this process, when you got to the point where you're not asking God why anymore, because I questioned God. I did. I questioned him, and I was raised that you don't. Martin Peters was the first person to tell me that it was okay to question. He was the only one that had the answers. I stopped asking why, because I don't think it's a why. I don't think it's an answer. No one that can ever tell me how did they take my firstborn from me in that capacity. My kids were raised in church, believed in God, praise dancers, choir, everything you can name. I prayed with my children every day not to let hurt, harm, or danger come to them. So I couldn't believe that this happened. I come from the bottom, me. I've lost my parents at a very early age. I was 18 going into 19 of age. I lost my mother due to lupus, cancer. A year later, I lost my father. So raising my children, they were all my all in all I know, all I had. So to bury loved ones doesn't compare nothing to losing a child. It's nothing you can explain. It's nothing you can say. It's nothing no one can tell you. It's nothing you want to hear. You can't absorb it. It's nothing I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy. I was angry with God, y'all. Angry when I tell you angry. But at the same time, I was angry with God. He was the same God that was helping me.
Yeah.
So I do have, I'm going through the process now, therapy. I have to because I didn't have no one to talk to because I have 2 other children and I'm a grandmother of 7. So I never grieved. I never accepted it because I had to be strong for everybody else. My daughter was going through it. My son was going through it. They didn't know how to adjust losing their brother, their older brother, that he was like a father to them, a role model, their best friend, everything that they knew. So I didn't have a chance to grieve. I was being there for them, his children, and dealing with the questions of the younger kids asking me, why my daddy? Why this happened? Why? I don't understand. Why they murdered my daddy? These are answers you don't have. You find yourself trying to apologize for something you don't have control over. So I never got a chance to really grieve or cry because trying to be there for everybody else. And when you're there for everybody else, who's there for you? So I'm giving out all my energy because that's just who I've been all my life. My family always called on me. I'm the oldest of 8. Everybody always depended on me. And it didn't change even in the midst of me losing a child. Everybody still depended on me. So it's hard. So I've never grieved. I'm in that stages now. I'm in my depression. I'm in my grief. Trying to learn how to deal with grief and so I can begin healing because I believe my daughter and son are a little bit at a better space. So now I'm trying to get to the point of allowing myself to grieve. I still cry every night. I wake up in tears every morning, but I do press my way because without God, there will be no me. My faith is tremendously, and I know that's what's getting me through. I know that what will get me through. But I just want to tell everybody, stay encouraged. I can't teach nobody nothing that I don't know. Only thing that works for me is my faith, is God. Without that, I'm nothing. And I didn't allow myself to grieve because I was so hurt, guys. I thought if I grieve, I wasn't going to make it out. That's how much I'm broken, I'm hurting. So I didn't want to allow myself to grieve because I didn't think I was going to make it. But I had such more of a bigger purpose to be here for the kids and the grandkids. So now I'm allowing myself to do that. And I find myself with headaches, chest pain, as doctors talk, as she's saying. I'm in my stress stages now. I'm in my depression. I don't think, and it hurts because everybody else can't see your hurt because I'm so used to being so strong, get up, look pretty, comb my hair, do this. So everybody don't see the stress on me. I don't carry it.
You don't.
Maybe because the way I'm built, the way I was raised to be strong. So people don't really allow me to hurt or probably don't even feel that I am hurting because the way I carry it. But I'm breaking more and more every day. Now to especially know that I have to go back to court and endure all this again to relive all of this. But this go around, I will say when I go, I'm going in better, stronger. My faith is stronger. I can't never say we're ready for the fight, but I will not give up long as I have breath in my body. Because I still can't believe these young men had the audacity to do what they did to my child. So long as I live and breathe, I seek justice. But I do advise people therapy. Therapy has been wonderful for me. It has been great for me. It's helping me. And I know it was a cliche when people always say, don't go to therapy, therapy don't work, and this, that. You know, we always had a cliche about therapy, but it's been the best thing for me because I didn't have no one else to talk to and everybody was coming to me. So now that I have that outlet is wonderful for me. As far as my foundation, I just started last year. 2022 in November. Marty was a guest speaker at it. God just put it on my heart to do something different in the name of my son because we always helped people. We always gave back. We always fed the homeless. We always help people for Christmas. It's something me and I taught my kids all their life. So my son was a big giver. So I've started this foundation. It's called You're Not Alone. My goal is to not let parents, they're not alone, and parents that have lost kids and brothers and sisters and grandkids and so forth, kids with, that's going on without a father. Just want to let them know they're not in this fight alone. So in November, I put on a big thing that I'm trying to continue on this year. I fed people. I had everybody come out. I gave out free haircuts, fed the people for free. I had performances, pastors, praise dancers. Just God put it on my heart to just give back. I had different parents come tell they different perspectives of their loss and how they dealing with their grief. It was a great, great outcome.
Yes, it was.
Wonderful for me, wonderful for people that was there. So I'm hoping the Lord can continue to give me strength and build me so I can continue on that journey. And hopefully it'll be bigger and bigger and bigger. The more I do it, the more I go on. This is something I would love to continue for my son, to keep his memory alive, because now I'm at the point that I won't grieve for him, but I'm going to live for him.
Yeah.
I want to live for him. I want to get strong and live for him, keep his memory alive, keep his legacy alive. He deserves that. And I want to be at peace because I know that's what he wants for me. That's what he always wanted, for his mother to be okay. He always looked out for me, my biggest cheerleader. And I know he wants me to be okay. And that's what led me to therapy. That's what led me to get help, because I want to be okay too. So that's just part of my journey, y'all. And it's been a pleasure to hear you guys' journey too as well.
Hey, Calvina, text me your information about You're Not Alone. You have some people on here that would like to help you volunteer and stuff like that.
Okay.
Text it to me.
Great.
So, and then they can follow you on your page. All of my guests are on Facebook. All of my guests are on Facebook. You all can follow them too. All of my guests are on Facebook. Also, Doc, what kind of would you have some advice or something to say to Calvina?
I would just say continue to do what you're doing. It sounds like you have acknowledged where you are in your grief journey. You have tapped into support. One thing that came to my mind was check on your strong friends. So I'm telling everybody that you appear to embody the strong friend characteristics. You seem to be the strong person in your family. So oftentimes you will hold back your grief or your stress to protect others, which is natural, but I want to really encourage people to take off the cape if you need to. And we talked about that at our last session. When you need to let down your cape, do so. So in that same vein, I want strong friends to ask for help and support when they need it and don't delay it, just because of those physical symptoms that can present. Like we talked about, the headaches, the heart palpitations, the sleepless nights, all the stress response systems that get activated physically. We can minimize that when we ask for help, seek professional support, and allow yourself that time and that permission to just be alone, to cry and express yourself in your most authentic form without feeling guilty. And a lot of times we feel guilty because we've been that strong person. So to be strong and prioritize the needs of others kind of makes us feel a little bit guilty about being a little bit selfish with our own needs.
Yes.
But, it's a me season in 2023. So give yourself permission to prioritize your needs, your self-care, so that you can make sure you have the capacity to help others.
Okay.
Sometimes we don't assess what's in our cup. If you don't have anything in your cup, then you don't have anything to give, period. Yeah. And if you know that God has called you to help people, then it is your job to be a good steward of what God has given you. And so you have to exercise, you have to eat right, you have to stay hydrated, You have to do all the things you need to do for yourself to make sure your cup is full so that you have something to give. Again, people get from you the overflow, what's flowing over from your cup. What's in your cup is enough for you to sustain you. And it's a process to build to that, to get to that. But I do see you moving in that vein, evidence by the fact that you are in therapy. You are acknowledging when you need support. So what I would suggest to you in terms of continuing to improve on your healing journey is to build that network of support, right? Because it sounds like you're on a lot of different networks of support, right? I'm sure there are about 10 people that can call you, but how many people can you call?
None. Maybe one or two.
Right.
Not many at all. Marty is one of them, but just a couple.
Yeah.
Just a couple. I don't have many.
So you want to think about that. And for those who are listening, you know, I want you all to make a list. Who are those people that are in my support network? Who can I call?
Okay.
That will give me energy, not make me feel low. You don't want those people who are going to just drain you.
Yes.
Those are not people who are on the list.
Yeah.
You all, you have to get in contact with Kat. Her information is right here. We just have one more person left, and I saved her last. She is, I didn't do it right because she's new to Real Talk. Everybody else is familiar with me. I don't personally know her, but we've been talking all this week in Texas, and she is a sweet young lady, soft voice, but she has a testimony. And Kat information is right there. Kat Cares Clinical Counseling website. It's on both of my pages. It's on Martin R. Peters' page. It's on Marty Peters' page. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We're not finished yet. We know we're over, but this has been awesome tonight. I feel like our guest tonight has kind of helped lift a burden off of their shoulders by talking it out, by listening to someone that cares. See, everybody on here cares what you're going through, care what you're dealing with. And then we got a Christian doctor who's my best friend in the whole wide world, wife. She's a first lady. She is awesome. She's perfect. She's auspicious. She is all of that. She got a big Wonder Woman, a big W on her shirt. And we appreciate that. But y'all got to talk to her off Facebook. You got to get down and sit on that Chase Lounge, and you got to talk to her and let her put her glasses on her nose and put that tablet with her and her pen. And then she got to give you something. She's not trying to give you no medicine, y'all. She's trying to help us navigate through grief. I've never known grief like I know grief as of October 14th. So, Kat, come on and introduce the lovely Kenyatta. That's your person that you brought on tonight.
Yes, I would like to introduce Kenyatta Yarn. Kenyatta is my client. We've been working together. It's been more than 6 months now, right?
Yes, longer than 6 months.
Yes, we met by way of her seeking support. At the time, her young child was diagnosed with a terminal illness, and I'll let her explain more about that. And we started the work. As we spoke in our last session, grief can start before transition happens, especially when a family member or a person is battling a terminal illness. And so we started our journey together, just focusing on day-to-day self-care and finding ways to cope with what was happening with her child. And I'll let her explain further how she's doing with her journey.
Come on, Kenyatta. We say the best for last.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction. My name is Kenyatta Yarn. I'm a resident here in San Jose, at least for the last 10 years. My story surrounds my son, Christopher Gibson. My baby lived a full 13 months. He was born on May 20th of 2021, and he passed away about 7 months tomorrow, so June 22nd of last year. Christopher was born with a brain injury that happened during labor. And so we had a very challenging time from the very first moment to him taking his last breath, to me being where I am today. He was my everything. He was my only child. I'm 35 years old and I was a single mom, but he made me feel so much purpose just with his presence from the moment that I knew he was conceived, the moment I had the first time to hold him in my arms. We dealt with a lot of medical issues throughout his time here that we didn't always have the best forms of support, but we made everything be as great as we could. Um, we had a lot of inside and outside hospital stays throughout his 13 months, but we had about a good 9 months of being able just to be here, be at home, and live day to day, celebrating holidays, really being able to just enjoy, visit family, meet family, and beyond. Christopher was my everything and still is to this day. I heard someone mention, you're never prepared to bury your child. And growing up as a woman of faith, you always feel like, putting it in God's hands. If it's meant to be, God is going to fix it. In this particular case, what my idea of fixing wasn't necessarily what God's plan was. And sometimes I still feel myself harnessing that anger and asking those same questions. I heard a lot of the rest of you mention tonight about the whys, the why means, and why my child, like, why did this have to happen this way? Why am I in this situation of having to carry this burden the rest of my life? Like, what is the reason? When the Lord took Christopher last June, I felt like my purpose had been snatched from me. I couldn't find a reason that was good enough to make me want to get out of bed every day, to press forward. It's just like, when you have a child, you plan your whole life around everything you want to make sure they have and everything you want to do with them. And when something so traumatic happens, just like, what's the point of anything else? Everything you thought you were doing, everything you had planned out to do, everything has changed dramatically. So it's almost like you're just starting from square one. And sometimes, like I said, that don't even leave you with the energy to get out of the bed every day. When I lost Christopher in June, we actually had went back in the hospital that May. I was fortunate enough to have a job that, even though I wasn't getting paid leave, they gave me a month off early once they realized where we were at in his path of terminal illness. And I was off for a full 6 months before I had to return back to work from his death. But again, that's without leave. So, I was over here figuring some stuff out in the midst of going through this crisis of everything that had happened with my son, and in the midst of grieving, and in the midst of trying to let go, and in the midst of accepting or just realizing there was nothing else that could be done, regardless of how late I stayed up praying about it, what I tried to do to figure it out. There was no mommy kiss, mommy touch, no type of nothing that was going to take that pain or take this whole issue away from me. I had a lot of time to think. I think I heard Pastor Lavell say sometimes he don't want to be anything other than just Lavell for a moment, because it's so much pressure and it's so much going on in the midst of grieving that you just want to get away from everything. I felt that same feeling of isolation. I didn't want to be around nobody that knew me. And not because I didn't feel like they would support or give me a back rub and tell me everything was going to be all right. Because to me, nothing was all right. Nothing still is all right. And no, it's not going to be all right unless you could literally put my son in my hands and he's full, healthy, and okay. That's just the answer for me, right? And so what I did, the first thing I did after Chris passed away, was I left the country. I left by myself. I went to Costa Rica. I needed to be someplace where nobody could look at me with those sad eyes and ask me, "Are you okay?" Knowing that I wasn't. Nowhere where someone knew me to give me that fake smile or try to make me laugh when I really wasn't in the mood for it. I wanted to be completely isolated so I could just, you know what? I'm not even fluent in Spanish. I just want to sit here and wait to hear from God, because that's the only person that's going to be able to talk to me that I can understand. And I just can't do everything or be whoever I was before the moment that happened on June 22nd. There was a speaker up here earlier, Lee Patrick, that mentioned that, what did he say? That he wasn't okay. That I felt from what he said that he was trying to be the person that he was before his losses. And
Right.
the truth is, we'll never be those people again. Those people we buried, those people left with whoever passed on. The person that you are today and the person that you are moving forward is who you've been rebuilt to be, who you had. It's like accepting that this is that new you, because a piece of you is literally gone. You're not that whole person that you were before. So you have to learn how to rebuild that space. And it doesn't mean you're forgetting that person, like Nola mentioned. She's not that she don't feel her pain. It's just she's learned to accept some things that, this is who she is right now.
Yeah.
She can never be who she was before her daughter passed. I'm only 7 months in this journey. So just like many of you, every day I cry multiple times a day. I look okay right now talking to y'all, but before I got on this call, no. When I woke up this morning, no. And that's okay. I accept that that's just part of it. Some moments I'm sad. Moments, what was that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Some moments I'm okay, and a lot of moments I'm not, but I just don't allow. I try to focus more on the moments of what I can do with the moments that I am okay. I don't try to fight the moments that I'm not okay anymore, because I can't hold it in. And when I hold it in, my body don't feel right, and I don't want to see what that looks like years from now, because it's usually on the days that don't feel right now. I don't think I'm at that point of full acceptance of not saying that there aren't days where it's really had to happen this way for me, but I feel like I'm in a stage where I'm trying to rebuild the purpose of what I can do with what happened to me, which leads me into talking about this organization that I am putting together. It's still in the making. I'm still waiting in the mail for my 501c3 status, but trust me, I got some lawyers behind me that's making sure it's coming. Throughout Christopher and I's journey in and out of the hospitals, as most of you probably know, because we all are part of the same brown skin, and things are a little bit different for us when we get in these hospital situations and when we get in these law situations. And the same resources that you find readily available to everyone else isn't always available to us until it's too late. And so with my son's death and with our journey and thinking about how my hospital journey affected me as a young Black mother, I've repurposed our journey into what you see before you. Beanie was my son's nickname, and so it inspired me to create Beanie's Babies Foundation. It is a charitable organization that is focused on providing resources to NICU and PICU families, particularly for us brown folks, but at the same time, I'm not turning anyone away that needs the assistance. There are multiple organizations in many of our communities, and that's throughout the state of California, but it goes even further than that. I'm starting here in Santa Clara County because of the nonprofit work I used to do and what's available to me. However, there are organizations that offer things that make things easier with transportation, navigating this medical world and getting the medical needs that you need, providing hospice care to your families in or out of the hospital. There are just multiple organizations that are already working in this function to provide us with things that we don't know we need. And if you were ever have the experience of waking up as a NICU or PICU parent, you realize that you just got hit in the face with a ton of bricks. It's something you never see coming. And it's something that you have to process in the moment of trying to deal with whatever kids you got back home, whatever job you may or may not have, and whatever things you still have to take care of while you're literally facing possibly spending the last moments with your child. It's something that no one can really prepare you for. So what I plan to do with this organization is to bring those resources to the forefront, to serve it on a silver platter to the families that actually need it, because I found that in Christopher and I's situation, there were a lot of things that weren't necessarily hidden from us, but weren't presented to us at a time where we needed it most. During my last hospital stay, I learned about all the in-home care that I was supposed to have throughout the year versus learning how to be a nurse overnight and basically getting the process down in 30 days of being a full-time working from home mother, taking care of a sick child every single day. That type of assistance, or the type of rental assistance or bill assistance that exist in our communities that we don't know about because they're literally not giving us this information on the silver platter in the hospitals as we're going through. And so this organization is basically taking those resources from these organizations that already exist and providing it directly to the families that need it. Because again, if you wake up as a NICU or PICU family, you don't have time to flip through anybody's yellow pages or stack of papers to get what you need. You're literally just focusing on how much time I have with my child. Are they giving my child what they need? Like, what else can I do? And God, why? What prayers can I pray to make this all go away? It's not something that will fix the process of what you're facing. It's something that and everything that's going on around you. And it's something that we needed that we didn't have. And the things that we were presented with were just because of who Christopher's godfather happened to be, or who our family in this county happened to be, that, or the work I used to prior to doing the field of work that I do now. I just want to make sure I bring these resources to the people that need it. And it gives me a sense of purpose just to feel that I'm impacting someone else's life that could have been or can be in similar situations as my own. It's a way to repurpose my son's legacy and just continue to carry on. It gives me a reason to get up and work on something every day. I am back at work now. And like I said, every day isn't easy, and trying to remember who I am and who I'm trying to be again is a whole different journey in itself. But checking in with Kat on a lot of these things as it continues to develop and as I continue to go through my stages of grief has definitely been a relief for me. It's definitely been some inspiration just to keep going. I know someone mentioned earlier they didn't really do the grief therapy thing when they first got faced with their situations. But I know with mine, prior to it happening to me, I was here and there with therapy. When I found out my son was sick, I tried to get more involved. It takes a long time to find a good therapist. And y'all really blessed that we have Kat on this call right now, because I went through several before she was presented to me through our local organization, the African American Community Service Agency. They actually were able to link Kat and I together and provide some free sessions of therapy, because therapy can also be expensive. But here in Santa Clara County, this organization is for us, and it makes sure that we're connected to the resources that we need, like Kat's beautiful team, to help us process and get through these things. She's been great. Again, it doesn't put my baby back in my arms. It doesn't say everything's gonna be okay, but it's just saying somebody's standing in the fire with me. If I need to lean sometimes before I get my feet back up under me, it's okay. You know, asking me the right questions to help me realign myself, to understand that, yes, I have questions for God. Yes, some days I'm really angry, but at the same time, having another woman of faith stand in that fire with you to still put those words and that just that guidance in you that, you know, God is still the only thing that's going to bring you through it. And it took time to find her. So make sure, if you haven't, make sure you do connect with her and take her information down. I feel like I'm blabbing on. Did you guys have questions?
Listen, go ahead, Kat.
Thank you. I appreciate you. You said something that I wrote down that I was going to ask everybody at the end, so I'll go ahead and share it now. For me, I had to learn how to find new meaning and purpose in my new life.
Right.
And you said that we will never be those people we were before we encountered the loss of that loved one. And that's true. And so it took me a while to even embrace the concept of wanting a new life, which is why it took me a long time to go visit her gravesite. Because for me, visiting was me being in alignment and in agreement with her being gone. So when I decided to go visit, that was a rebirth of me accepting the new life and the new purpose that I was embodying at that time.
Wow.
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 Okay.
And so, in the same vein that Kenyatta is moving and Calvina, they have found purpose and meaning in keeping their loved ones' memory alive. And so I would suggest that we try to connect with our loved ones. It can be something as simple as doing something that your loved one used to do, or picking up a hobby that your loved one used to. Like my mom used to sew and make our clothes. So I was like, oh, I should take a sewing class. That's my way of connecting with her. It can be an anniversary meal that your loved one used to like to eat. So we have to now develop a new way of keeping our loved one's memory alive.
I bake my wife's cakes. My wife baked the honey bun cake. I'm not a baker. I'm a cook. I bake a cake for holidays, and on July 30th every year, some capacity or another, I'm going to have Taco Bell. Got married, and our wedding party ate all our food. We did not eat at the wedding, so we went to Taco Bell that night. And every year for our anniversary, we would go wherever we went. We found Taco Bell and we ate it. So I make sure I get a number 4, no sour cream, taco sauce, burrito supreme every year July 30th, and have done it ever since.
Hey, man.
True story.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
Whatever works. Whatever works.
Whatever works.
My son used to go skating like twice a week. He was a great skater. He's always go to the skating ring. He had his own skates specially made. He loved skating.
Wow.
So every year on anniversary, we go skating. And Lord knows I can't skate. But for the sake of him, we skate. But it'd be fun. We get all the kids together. We get everybody together. And it's really, really a fun thing to do. I see why he liked it. So I do agree with us to stay connected with our children or loved ones. Just pick up something that they love to do. And you never know how much it will bless you.
Yeah.
Yes.
I like Kat. I think you have not know. I know for a fact of inboxes that I have been getting. When we talked, we never knew it was gonna go into 3 weeks. We were talking about 1 week. In the comments, it was like, no, we need another week 3, week 2, week 3, week 4, week 5. No, listen. She has other things to do. She's a mother of 3 growing children. She's a wife. She's a first lady. She has her own practice, and she has a job. So she is extremely busy. But you have helped us. You have helped me. I know Marissa was standing over here, and she's agreeing with everything everybody was saying. She's feeling those things. Everybody giving thumbs up. People, I know we've had over 400 or 500 people on tonight. So I thank God for you, Kenyatta. I hate we had to meet like this, but I'm definitely putting you at the top of my prayer list. praying for your mental capacity and praying for your strength and tenacity. But I'm also praying for all of you all. And I'm specifically reaching out to Kenyatta because hers is fresh, just like my children's mother passing is fresh.
Absolutely.
And you guys were awesome tonight. We've been on for over 2 hours tonight, and the numbers just started dropping a few minutes ago. So people have been on here all night to watch you all. You all,
amen.
This show is called Real Talk, and Marty Peters just want to thank you all for being real tonight, being raw, being very transparent, because somebody that's watching or somebody that we will watch when it re-airs again at 9 p.m., which is in another hour. Somebody has gone through grief and they're still going through it right now, but they have not heard this type of transparency. So you guys are helping the World Wide Web. This is on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. You guys have blessed people. You guys have helped people. And you guys did not have to say yes when I reached out to you all. Kenyatta, you didn't have to say yes when Kat reached out to you all. But every last one of you all, without reservation nor hesitation, said, absolutely, I would love. Kat, Lex text me and said, bro, this is thick. This is rough in here. I'm like, bro, sign off. He's like, nope, I got to stick with it. So Lex, thanks for sticking with it. I know this was hard for some of you. I know some of you are broke. But at the end of the day, God has made us a blessing to be a blessing to help someone else.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
That's right.
Amen. Amen.
Thank you all.
Right.
We're going to sign off now. Again, go on my page, follow Calvina Bradford for her foundation. Follow Kenyatta Yarn. They are on social media. Now, don't y'all be trying to get at Kenyatta, fellas, and Calvina. No, keep it business here. Keep it business. Don't be trying to get at Nola. Keep it business.
You guys can look me up on Facebook. My foundation is called You Not Alone. It's actually, you won't find it under my regular page, but if you go in, I have a separate page that's called You Not Alone. It's just specially for parents and children and support. So you can find me there.
Okay, can you link it to my page? Y'all can go on to my page. It'll be
I can link it
on my page. Y'all can go to my page so y'all can get off her page and get
Marty,
off the other page.
Can I make a recommendation? Once every other month, I meet with parents who have lost their children at Providence and Bishop Cobb's church. And I would like to link up and invite y'all to come and be a part. Pastor Michael Wallace and his wife, they lost their son, and quite a few others. And it has been a blessing. We last met in December. I think we're meeting again in February or March. But this was the first time we met in person because it's been on Zoom. But I mean, it's a blessing to hear stories of parents who had amazing children. And one thing I want everybody to know, and Dr. Kat and Pastor Marty, I want to thank you all, because what I want everybody to know, you're not alone. Sometimes I used to feel like it's just me. And I'm realizing that it's just not me. There are so many people, and I'm a fan of the first 48. Don't ask me why, but when I see kids dying, and y'all, my son Lex Marty was an accomplished musician. At 17 years old, could play the organ, and all he kept saying to me that whole week, Dad, I know you're preaching Saturday. I know you're preaching. Dad, I need to pray. I need to play for you Saturday. I need to pray for you Saturday. And he died that Friday night.
Wow.
And guess what? Bullets. This was and Calvina, bullets that was not even meant for him.
For him. Wow. Wow.
And I tell you, to this day it hurts, and I still, on my way to work and on my way home every day, I have to pass Rolling Hills in Richmond.
Come on,
where my child is buried.
This happened. May I ask you, Pastor, was this in Oakland?
It was in Oakland.
Yeah, right on 73rd.
Wow.
New Year's Eve.
I was standing in the pulpit and preached, and he texted me, and I looked at my phone. That's how everybody in church found out. Lavell texted me and said, he gone. And I acknowledged to the church that his son was just murdered.
Wow.
I was at Antioch Baptist Church preaching in the gospel bowl for Pastor Todd Wheelock.
Yep. Yes. If you ever see the statues, the children's memorial statues in City of Hayward and Fairyland Park at Lake Merritt, those are my son. Both of those are replicas of my son.
Okay.
My Lord.
Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Listen, you all, let me pray. I think we can close it out with that. And you all share with your friends and families. This will be on again in 45 minutes at 9 p.m. All right. Our God, our Father, we thank you for all of our guests tonight. God, thank you for their transparency. God, I know they miss their daughters and their sons and their parents and their wives and their mother. They miss their family, God. God, grief is no joke. Grief hurts. Grief have you in feelings of not understanding, not clear, angry, frustrated, stressed out. And God, all of us have felt some type of pain with the loss of a loved one. God, my loss is not the same as their loss. Their loss is not the same as anyone else's. But God, you are our light. You are our shield. You are our protection. And your word says, if we come unto you, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, you promise to give us rest. So God, I'm asking that over a period of time, we know there's no time limit as it relates to grief. Families that's on here that have watched tonight, the hundreds that have watched tonight, would you touch their family? Would you touch their children? Would you touch their grandchildren? Would you patch up and fill that hole, that void that they've been filling for years and months and days and weeks and years at a time? God, we know that you can do it. We call on you. God, we believe in you. God, we've been angry with you. We've been frustrated with you, God. But God, you are God and you can handle our grief. You're God. You can handle our frustration, God. Because God, you also know how it feels to lose your son at 33 years of age. Jesus Christ had to die to save us for our sins so that we would not go to hell. So God, you feel their anger. You feel their frustration. We have not a high priest that we cannot touch, but we thank you, God, that we can touch you. We thank you, God, that you know what they feel like and what they're dealing with, what they're going through. So God, I pray that you bring some comfort and some closure and let them cast their cares upon you, for you cared for us. You told us that if we lift our eyes to the hills from which cometh our help coming from the Lord God, who's the maker of heaven and earth. God, this is my prayer, that you would heal grieving families and grieving individuals all over this world. It's in Jesus' name we pray. We thank you for Dr. Cat, and we thank you for everyone that's been on tonight. Give us some sweet rest tonight, God, and if it's your will, let us go celebrate you and praise you tomorrow. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. Thank y'all. Love y'all.
Amen.
Hopefully y'all will do another show.
Night, Pastor.
Bye. Love y'all.
Thank you.